Now that we've gotten a chance to see what this test track is like in Chris's BRZ, we're going to sit down here with TJ, our tire expert at Tire Rack, and talk about how important tires are to performance driving. So the Subaru BRZ was built with a narrow, not very sticky tire in mind for the sake of fun, right? It was the idea of that tire was to let it play, let that tail rotate with very little torque. So how does a tire like an R888R or a Dunlop Dureza Z3 Star Spec transform the car? And yes, maybe it has more grip. Is it less fun, or does it just push the limits of the original vibe of that car?
Just as a general rule, as you increase the grip substantially over what was factory on the car, you'll find that it leads to a little bit more understeer. It makes the car a little bit more pushy. We found that it will tend to lock down the rear a bit more than it will the front. So yeah, just general, there are always exceptions to everything within the tire world. But yeah, it'll start to tighten it up a little bit. Ultimately, it will still probably be faster, or I won't even say probably, it will still be faster around a track. You'll just have to drive it differently. It will be a different experience for you. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Do you want that free, the easy drifty action, or are you just looking for faster lap times that might not feel as good? We have a saying around here that what's fast doesn't always feel good, and what feels good isn't always fast. We find that on our test track all the time. You'll drive a tire and think, man, that just felt awesome. And then look at your lap time and it's actually slower than the tire you drove before that, felt like you were kind of fighting the tire a little bit. And a lot of times you can, fighting the car a little bit on the tire. And a lot of times you get that same sensation switching from an OE product like the Michelins that were OE on the BRZ to something like a Dureza Z3 or an R888R.
So like driving, modifying your car is all about balance. So now you've increased your grip level. What's next? Because increasing your grip level is going to increase your speeds, which now you're going to have some braking capability differences. And at the same time, you may have more body roll because you're settling that car in quite a bit more. What would you say is the natural progression of modification? So maybe first we start with the tire.
Tires, brakes, suspension, and alignment particularly. A lot of people will add coilovers and drop their car 2 inches and think, okay, that's it, I'm done. I cannot stress enough the importance of negative camber, particularly in the front. Like you touched on, which awesomely astute that you mentioned body roll, because a lot of people don't even think about that. The grippier the tire, the more it's rolling the car. As the car rolls over, that tips that tire out to the outboard edge, and you'll find that if you have a stock suspension, stock alignment settings, you are just cornering on the outside inch or 2 inches of the tire, and in addition to not using the rest of the tire for grip, you're going to wear that patch on the outside shoulder. We'll have people that email in that hey, I did 2 20-minute sessions and my tire is done. What can I do? And it's typically what alignment settings are you using? You say, oh, I have camber plates and I have coilover suspension, but it's all factory suspension settings. And so if you're not coilovers and adjustable suspension alignment, those are tuning tools that you don't just put it on and all of a sudden everything's better. You have to actually utilize those and make those adjustments to improve lap time and tire life.
So it's 2019, and here we are still using pneumatic tires.
Yes.
What do you need to tell us about tire pressures? Because part of what you just said about that rollover is going to be pressure dependent. And people go out and they're running their stock tire pressures, and then they get on that track of that autocross and they start raising those pressures because of heat. What's your recommendation for getting out there and learning a pressure, and what's a good baseline to start with?
Sure. When you're learning, I would always recommend err on the side of caution and go high. The pressure to grip curve for a tire is a bell curve, so there's always one pressure where this is where maximum grip is. Anything less than that, you have less grip. Anything more than that, you have more grip. So a lot of people think that they're too far up on that curve and they keep dropping pressure. And yes, sometimes, not always, but sometimes that will improve grip, but it's usually at the expense of tire wear. It's a balance, it's a trade-off between tire longevity and overall grip. If you have more pressure, it helps support the internal structure of the tire better, helps with wear, helps prevent it from rolling under during turns and eating that outside front shoulder like I've talked about so many times. So definitely err on the high side. If you wanted to start, say, 3 to 5 psi over placard pressure. That's a good place to start, and then tune as you look at tire wear and for how the vehicle feels.
If I'm looking for something that's going to give me good street performance and good track performance, and I'm not so concerned about my tire life, maybe I'm okay with a 10,000 mile tire. Let's talk 200 tread wear tires.
Sure.
Where am I going to start searching so I can get on track, handle a bunch of heat cycles, and maybe even outperform my oil cooler?
Sure, right. Yeah, and that you hit the nail right on the head in that 200 tread wear category. Products like the Dunlop Dureza Z3, the Bridgestone Potenza RE71R, BF Goodrich G-Force RS, and then its newest version, the RS 1.5. Those are kind of your standard go-to tires for autocross type use. There is also a growing market out there of the budget endurance racers that want something that might be just a tiny bit slower, 97%, let's say, just to throw numbers out there, of the ultimate track speed or ultimate lap times, but last longer. And the Hankook Ventus RS4 has really filled that void, or it hits that niche really, really well. It wears incredibly well, but still very fast, very capable.
So we're not just at Tire Rack because they sell tires. We're here because there's a lot of knowledge. And the reason that I and Chris come to Tire Rack is because they have a customer service department that drives. And it's not just TJ that knows this information. When you're buying your tires with them, you can of course go online, send them straight to your house, have them mounted, and you're good to go. Or if you have questions, these are the guys to call. And I've always found that I've been able to call their customer service and ask questions that I'm not comfortable getting answers to on forums. If you know what you need for tires, or you got lots of questions about what you should be buying for tires, head on over to TireRack.com and don't forget to leave a comment, because I'm sure they'll be patrolling that section as well. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you in the next one.